In this video, I'm going to be talking about car seats in the Audi Q5. This is a 2013, which is the first generation of the Audi Q5. Came out in 2008, was produced through 2017. And so this video is really going to be applicable to any of those model years in that range. Now, we bought this car right before we had our first baby, thinking it'd be a great family car. And we're a little bit surprised by the results when we tried to put our first car seat in there. Now, I've actually got two car seats here. On the right-hand side, we've got your infant seat that you can basically install a base and then pop the seat out, put it in the stroller, or carry it in if the baby falls asleep. And then on the left here, we've got kind of an infant to booster seat that grows with the child. And so it starts as a rear-facing seat. You can basically put them in around 10 pounds, and then they're good up to about 65 pounds. And obviously, when they're old enough, you can flip it around to a front-facing seat. So it's really one that kind of grows with the kid, but you can't take it out of the base. You can't carry it around, and it doesn't really work when they're really small. So when they first come home from the hospital, you really need to have more of the seat that's on the right-hand side. So you can see that these are both Recaro car seats. I was pretty excited about this when I started searching for a car seat. If you're familiar with Audis, Recaro seats are common in the S models of the Audis. And this style is similar in some sense. They have a really kind of sporty look to them, and really is a nice fit with the Audi interior to have something that has kind of an upscale look to it to go along with the interior inside of the Audi. So we're going to start off by testing the infant car seat. What I did is I rolled both seats on the driver and passenger side all the way forward so that we can get the car seat in, show you how it fits, and then I want to show you how much legroom you would have in the front seat of the vehicle once you adjust accordingly. So starting over on the passenger side, we've got the infant car seat installed, or placed rather, just to give you an idea of what that spacing looks like. And between the car seat and the passenger seat, you can see there is a small gap, basically just enough for a couple fingers to fit in there. The way that the seat's designed, it curves to allow for pretty good legroom down here, but then it comes up kind of at that critical point right where the car seat is at its longest length. And so it's kind of an unfortunate coming together between the two that really constricts the space that you have available, despite the fact that there's a lot of room down in this area that's kind of just wasted. And so it's unfortunate that it comes together that way, but you know, it's kind of the way the car seat's designed, and obviously you can see what Audi's doing there, trying to maximize legroom with that seat. But then what you really end up with is a tight fit between the car seat and the passenger seat. Jumping over to the other side of the vehicle, just to kind of give you an idea from this perspective. Once again, you can see just enough space for those couple fingers to fit in there. And jumping up to the front passenger seat, like I mentioned, we had it move forward just about all the way. So not a lot of legroom left in there for a passenger at this point. I will go ahead and jump in for a demonstration. Now we do have those couple inches. So we'll move the seat back just to where I still fit. And looking down, you can see there is a gap between my knees and the dashboard, but it's really a claustrophobic feeling. Yes, the car seat fits behind me, but it's pushed up right against the seat. And then sitting in this passenger side of the vehicle, I really feel like I'm too close to the front of the car, not have enough space for my legs to really move around. And there's not really the option to reposition my legs in any way. I can't extend them out. They're basically positioned tight the way that they are, and I'd have to leave them in that position for whatever driver were to go on. So it's not a real ideal fit. We'll go ahead and throw the infant car seat in real quick for another comparison. And we'll show that one both front facing and rear facing. Obviously with the infant car seat, you're only going to be using that as a rear facing seat, so not really applicable to show that. So we'll go ahead and jump back there with the toddler child seat. We've got the toddler child seat placed now, and I actually left the seat where it was originally installed, and you'll see that despite that, even though I pushed the seat back before, we've actually still got a little bit of space back here. I can almost fit my whole hand. And once again, you can see the design of the car seat similar to the infant seat, but because it's a larger seat and it sits a little bit more upright, this constricting point right here is just slightly above the top of the passenger seat, and so you don't really get that conflict quite as much with this car seat. And so it's actually a little bit better picture when you jump up to this size of car seat. Now, obviously not a huge amount of legroom in the back here for the kiddo, but they have short legs, so it works okay. Once again, you can see this perspective, and it's kind of hard to see that gap back in there, but there is some space between the two seats. And jumping up to the front passenger seat, like I mentioned, we had it pushed back a little bit before. I'm gonna roll this seat back till they touch. Okay, they're touching now. You can see it's a little bit more tolerable as far as legroom. So jumping in, this is actually tolerable, having it in this position. It's not ideal. It's still a little bit tight. You can see, you know, there's a little bit of gap between my knees and the dashboard, but it's not quite as claustrophobic as it was before. It could be doable, but it's not ideal. So that's having the seat facing rear facing. We'll flip it around and show you what it looks like facing forward. With the car seat turned around facing forward now, this is leaving this front passenger seat again where I just last had it. So it was tolerable, but not necessarily ideal. This is how much legroom you end up with for the kiddo. So it's not a huge gap. There's definitely close enough that your kid could kick this seat and might drive you a little bit crazy. But there's also probably enough room that you could move it back a few inches over on that side. We'll jump around and take a look at that. So again, here's the perspective from this side. Not a ton of space, but let's try moving this guy back just a tad. Okay, it's still enough legroom there that I think it would work for the kid. And now I'm comfortable. Now I can extend my legs a little bit. Got a pretty good space here, and I'm comfortable. So in that position, it does work with this car seat. And again, this is what your legroom looks like. So, you know, they could easily kick the back of the car seat, but it is workable in that position. So now, one thing that I do want to mention is even though that's not necessarily ideal to have the car seat on either the driver or passenger side as far as legroom, it is necessary if you have more than one kid. But really the safest place in the vehicle is the middle seat. And that's actually where we've placed both of our car seats. And so I want to show you real quickly what that looks like, having either of these seats in the middle of the car in case you have just one kid. And then we'll do a quick comparison of if you had one sitting in the middle and one on the side and see what that would look like. Starting with the toddler seat, you can see it provides quite a bit more room. I've got both of these seats positioned now where I would want them for my wife and I. Unfortunately, you can see with the middle seat here, the problem is that they can kick right against the vents. I probably wouldn't feel comfortable having them there because it probably would end up breaking them. And so I wouldn't recommend having the car seat positioned there. But if we flip it around, give you an idea of what it looks like installed this way, much better. So you can see there's enough of a gap between the two seats here that you can slide it in there and position either the driver or passenger seat wherever you like, and there's plenty of space. So with the infant seat in the middle now, once again, just like with the toddler seat, or just like with the passenger seat rather, you can see it's a pretty tight gap here. It does work, but as you can see when you slide the seat back, it kind of rubs against the side of the car seat. So it's a pretty tight fit there, but it does function, and this is the way that we actually have the seat installed in our car since we've got just the one kid right now. It's a lot more ideal than having that lack of legroom on the passenger side. And so it fits, but it's not necessarily ideal. Okay, so our last visual here is to have the toddler seat installed over on the passenger side. You already saw what that looked like on its own. Obviously, you could install either of these seats on the driver and passenger side and leave a gap in the middle. What this one really tells us is whether you could fit 3 seats wide and whether you could put the infant seat in the middle to maintain that legroom on either side for the driver and passenger, and fit the 2 car seats in together. And what you'll see is it actually does work. And so once again, we have a pretty tight fit here with the infant seat between the driver and passenger seats, but we just barely fit with having this bar all the way back. We're able to fit these 2 seats kind of together where they just kind of fit in pretty nicely, and you could have a seat installed on the driver and passenger side with this guy in the middle. So it is possible
It's a tight fit, but it just barely works.
So in summary, the Q5 will fit a car seat, but it's a little bit of a tight fit. On the right-hand side, the infant car seat, it's gonna fit best in the middle of the back seat. Not really gonna work too well on either the driver or passenger side. And then on the left, the toddler seat, that one's really gonna work okay in any of the seats, as long as you're not really tall and need quite a bit of leg room. If you need to fit 2 or 3 car seats in the back, that should work as well. Although if you wanna have the infant seat in the middle, it's gonna be a little bit of a tight fit between the two. But it will work, just a little tight. So if you have any comments or questions, leave them in the section below. For more videos on the Audi Q5, subscribe to my channel. In the meantime, thanks for watching.